Understanding roots and radicals. A root is made up of three parts. One is the index n, which is here, the radicand a, which is what's underneath the root symbol, and then the root symbol itself, which is called the radical. To find a square root, you are essentially looking for what number, when squared, equals a. The most recognizable square roots are what are called perfect squares. These are numbers that when you square root them, they give you a rational number, a nice number. All other numbers that are square rooted will give you something irrational. So here's a list of a bunch of the first few perfect squares from 0 to 10. And these are the nice ones that you should memorize to help calculations later on. There's many more, but these are the most common ones you should run into. However, there are non-perfect squares, and these are very difficult to actually compute, so usually you want to use a calculator because square root of 2 is about 1.414, square root of 3 is 1.732, square root of 5, 2.236, and so on. So when it comes to these, use a calculator, but you can even use a calculator on the perfect squares if you just want to make sure. Just note that the square root of a negative number is not considered real. So if you were looking for a real number solution and you say the square of and you got a square root of a negative number, you can say that it is not real. Now, along with square roots, there are cube roots. And when you are trying to find a cube root, you are looking for what number, when cubed, will give you a. And just like with perfect squares, cube roots also have perfect cubes. Again, these are numbers that when cube rooted will give you a nice rational number. All the numbers that when cube rooted will give you an irrational number. So here are the first few perfect cubes, 0 to 5, and there's many more, but these are the most common you'll probably run into. But if you need to take a cube root of a non-perfect cube, this is what you'll get. And again, you would need to use a calculator to figure this out. There are also fourth roots, fifth roots, sixth roots, and more. Essentially, you could take the nth root of any number, and honestly, you should use a calculator when you do that. But knowing what perfect squares and what perfect cubes are is a good thing because it can make life a little bit easier when trying to figure out stuff, so you're not reaching for a calculator for every step. But if you're ever unsure, you can always use the calculator just to make sure that it is a perfect cube. It'll never give you a wrong answer if you type it in right. But this is a basic overview for roots and radicals.